1. What is the primary role of a contracting officer's representative, COR? A. To negotiate contract terms and conditions with vendors. B. To serve as the technical liaison between the contracting officer and the contractor. C. To authorize contract modifications and change orders. D. To approve payment requests without oversight. 2. Which document formally designates an individual as a COR and outlines their specific duties? A. Statement of work. B. Performance work statement. C. COR designation letter. D. Quality assurance surveillance plan. 3. A COR discovers that a contractor is not meeting performance standards. What is the appropriate first step? A. Terminate the contract immediately. B. Document the deficiency and notify the contracting officer. C. Withhold payment until the issue is resolved. D. Negotiate directly with the contractor for a price reduction. 4. Which of the following actions is outside the authority of a COR? A. Monitoring contractor performance. B. Authorizing changes to contract scope or price. C. Inspecting deliverables for quality. D. Maintaining contract documentation. 5. Under the Federal Acquisition Regulation, FAR, who has the authority to bind the government contractually? A. Contracting officer's representative. B. Program manager. C. Contracting officer. D. Technical advisor. 6. What is the purpose of a quality assurance surveillance plan? A. To establish the contract budget and timeline. B. To define how contractor performance will be monitored and evaluated. C. To outline the contractor's internal quality control procedures. D. To provide training requirements for government personnel. 7. A contractor approaches the COR requesting approval for additional work not specified in the contract. How should the COR respond? A. Approve the work if it seems reasonable. B. Refer the contractor to the contracting officer for any scope changes. C. Authorize the work verbally to avoid delays. D. Deny the request without further action. 8. Which training requirement must typically be completed before an individual can be appointed as a COR? A. Advanced procurement certification. COR certification at the appropriate level. C. Project management professional certification. D. Financial management training only. 9. What type of contract requires the most intensive monitoring by a COR? Firm fixed price contract. B. Cost reimbursement contract. C. Indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity contract. D. Blanket purchase agreement. 10. During a site visit, the COR observes potential safety violations by contractor employees. What is the appropriate action? A. Ignore it as it falls under contractor responsibility. B. Document the observation and report to the contracting officer immediately. C. Stop all work and evacuate the site. D. Issue a verbal warning to the contractor's project manager. 11. Which document serves as the primary guide for COR surveillance activities? A. Contract schedule. B. Quality assurance surveillance plan. C. Source selection plan. D. Market research report. 12. What is the significance of maintaining a COR file? A. It provides a backup for the contractor's records. B. It documents the complete history of contract administration and performance. C. It replaces the official contract file maintained by the contracting officer. D. It is optional documentation for high-value contracts only. 13. A COR notices that invoice amounts consistently exceed the monthly estimates without corresponding increases in deliverables. What should the COR do? A. Approve the invoices to maintain the contractor relationship. B. Review supporting documentation and report discrepancies to the contracting officer. C. Reduce future payments to balance the budget. D. Request a contract modification independently. 14. Which of the following best describes constructive change? A. A formal modification approved by the contracting officer. B. An unauthorized action by the COR that effectively changes contract requirements. C. A planned scope increase negotiated before contract award. D. A reduction in services requested by the contractor. 15. When should a COR complete a contractor performance assessment report? A. Only at contract completion. B. At established intervals and at contract completion as required. C. Only when performance problems occur. D. Before contract award. 16. Which communication principle is most important for CORs when interacting with contractors? A. All directions should be given verbally to ensure quick response. B. Communications should be documented and within authorized scope. C. Personal relationships should drive professional interactions. D. Information should be shared selectively to maintain leverage. 17. What is the COR's responsibility regarding conflicts of interest? A. Conflicts only matter during the source selection phase. B. The COR must disclose any actual or potential conflicts and avoid situations that could create bias. C. Financial interests in the contractor are permitted if disclosed. D. Conflicts of interest are managed solely by the Ethics Office. 18. A contractor claims that a COR's technical direction constitutes a contract change. What protection exists for the government? A. The COR has unlimited authority to direct work. B. The contractor must prove the direction exceeded COR authority. C. The COR designation letter and contract terms define the scope of COR authority. D. All technical direction automatically becomes a contract modification. 19. What is the primary purpose of the pre-performance conference? A. To renegotiate contract terms. B. To establish mutual understanding of contract requirements and administrative procedures. C. To evaluate contractor qualifications. D. To approve the contractor's quality control plan. 20. Which FAR part specifically addresses the roles and responsibilities of CORs? A. FAR Part 1. B. FAR Part 15. C. FAR Part 46. D. FAR Part 1602-2. 21. How should a COR handle a situation where they believe the contractor deserves payment for work performed, but the invoice contains errors? A. Approve the invoice as submitted to avoid payment delays. B. Reject the invoice and document the specific errors for correction. C. Modify the payment amount without contractor notification. D. Pay a partial amount based on personal judgment. 22. What distinguishes Level 1 COR certification from Level 2 and Level 3? A. Level 1 CORs can authorize contract modifications. B. Level 1 is for low-risk, low-complexity contracts. Higher levels correspond to greater complexity. C. Level 1 requires more training hours than Level 2. D. There is no distinction between certification levels. 23. A COR must evaluate whether a contractor's substitute personnel meet contract requirements. What criteria should guide this evaluation? A. Personal preference and familiarity with the individuals. B. Qualifications specified in the contract and position requirements. C. Cost savings potential from the substitution. D. Contractor's internal performance reviews. 24. What is the appropriate method for a COR to provide technical direction to a contractor? A. Verbal instructions during casual conversations. B. Written direction within the scope of the contract and COR authority. C. Email to contractor employees at any level. D. Through third-party intermediaries. 25. Which ethical principle requires CORs to avoid actions that give the appearance of favoritism? Transparency. B. Impartiality. C. Accountability. D. Confidentiality. 26. What should a COR do if they become aware of potential fraud, waste, or abuse related to a contract? A. Investigate the matter personally before reporting. B. Report the concern to the contracting officer and/or inspector general. C. Discuss the issue with the contractor first. D. Wait until contract completion to file a report. 27. In performance-based contracting, what is the COR's primary focus during surveillance? A. Monitoring the contractor's internal processes. B. Verifying that performance outcomes meet contract standards. C. Approving the contractor's methodology and approach. D. Directing specific work activities. 28. What is the consequence of a COR exceeding their delegated authority? A. The government automatically ratifies the action. B. This COR and government may face legal and financial liability. C. The contractor must absorb any additional costs. D. No consequences if the action benefits the government. 29. Which document typically specifies acceptable quality levels and inspection methods for contract deliverables? A. Statement of objectives. B. Contract line item number structure. C. Quality assurance surveillance plan. D. Past performance questionnaire. 30. A contractor requests a meeting to discuss concerns about the COR surveillance methods. How should the COR respond? A. Refuse the meeting to maintain authority. B. Agree to meet and listen to concerns while maintaining professional boundaries. C. Defer all contractor communications to the contracting officer. D. Adjust surveillance methods immediately to accommodate the contractor. 31. What type of surveillance involves scheduled reviews at predetermined milestones or intervals? A. Random sampling surveillance. B. Periodic surveillance. C. Continuous surveillance. D. Reactive surveillance.